Hello, good evening, Bayern Racing fans, and yes, welcome to this special edition of Cage Full Throttle. I'm Ed Fahey, and this evening we'll be looking at our very own caged open meeting that was at Standlake recently, and looking forward to the rescheduled Ipswich World Final. But before we do all that, let's meet our panellists. It's our very own Stig. It's our own Bayern Racing driver. He's making a rare appearance tonight, but he's very welcome. It's Bryson, the Brick Walker.
Evening all. Evening race fans.
Race fan. We only have one race fan around here, and it's you, Bryson. Anyway, it's the man making it all happen in the background. It's Mr. Orange Media himself. It's James Keane.
Hello, Ed. Thanks. And hello to my other panellists and everyone listening tonight. In a season we never thought would happen, we've got right into the interesting bit now.
It's our very own birthday boy. He's half my age, so that makes him really old. It's Jordan Hollands.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, and yeah, it should be a good show tonight. We've got lots to discuss, so yeah, it should be good.
And just dragged along, coming along for the ride this evening, it's the Cage dear leader. It's Matt Josey.
Hello, everybody. Yes, thank you, Ed. It's great to be back, and we actually got the go ahead of the meeting. So yeah, it's great to be here tonight, and we look forward to seeing how the night goes.
We do. Well, without further ado, we had our very own Cage meeting. The Cage Open at Standlake Arena went very well, given the circumstances, which is probably the only time we're going to talk about Corona all evening. But everyone has something to say about this, except me, of course, because I wasn't there due to obvious reasons. But James, a lot of good results on the day.
It was a fantastic meeting. I don't know if we got the final car count. Someone else might be able to update me on that later. But we got close to everyone that was booked into raced, and we got a fantastic turnout given the circumstances that we're all faced with at the moment. I'm going to quickly go through the results now so that we can get on with the discussion of the meeting, which will be done. So we started off with two under 1800cc heats. The first one was run by 295 Ashley Wallace, followed home by 260 Keefe. But the real talking point of that first heat was 400 Chip, who was putting in, right from the start, was putting in some good shots left, right and centre. The second heat was a bit more steady for the unders, and that was won by 226 Liam Bricknell. We then went into the overs. The first race of the overs was won by 760 Joey Reynolds, who won by pretty much just under a lap from 617 Jack Overy. I mean, obviously Standlake's one of his home tracks, but to finish a lap ahead of Jack Overy, you know you do something right. Heat 2 for the overs, Joey, not one to ever shy away from winning a race trophy, went straight off the track, came back out, and then took the win again from Jethro 528 in second, whose car with its boot sticking up looked proper old school and pretty much it looked so cool. But this is when we started to see the guy who eventually went to win our Entertainers Award, 246 Aston Burt, putting a monster T-bone on Squirt's limo on turn one as it was sitting out. The red flags came out, it peeled the passenger side door away. Aston went to check on Squirt, he got out of the car fine. But again, it just showed how the entertainment was picking up as we went. Heat 3 for the unders was heavier. There were big hits from 333, 233 and 307. But it was 161 who won the race from 295. Heat 4 for the unders was won by 198 Ashley Squirrel Rummery. He won ahead of 226 Liam Bricknell. As the checker flags came out, there was a fire on 243 Pete Bodger Osborne's car after, at the time I thought it was from a little love tap from 440 Big Mac Macaulay Mills, but actually he said he got a puncture and ended up putting himself in the barrier. But as he told the marshal not to put the extinguisher into his car because he didn't want his engine ruined. It was only it was an oil filter fire. But that meant he got a great view sitting there in his warm car in a very cold Standlake as his running mate Ashley Brummery took the win. As we went into, we actually missed who won it was all in for the overs second heat. We actually missed the winner because it was all absolutely jam packed. But the unders final was won by 226 Liam Bricknell, who becomes the third winner of the 1800cc Caged Open Trophy, ahead of 294 in second and 391 in third. And in the final, probably the race of the day, was the Unlimited Caged Open, and that was won by 760 Joey with 699 Stacey Holdsworth in second and Harry Overy in third. And that was probably the race of the day for the action we had down on turn 1 and 2, involving what was our car of the day, 243 Josh Lee and his Humber, which we'll come on to in a bit. And also there was a lot of cat and mouse between Jack Star and Team Black, and it all kicked off down on turn 3. turn 1 and 2. All drivers got out okay, but it looked almost a bit like a DD at the end of that race, and I think pretty much everyone came away thinking that was a fantastic race. So they're the results. I'm now going to hand back to you guys for your thoughts of the day, and then I'll be back with some quotes from the drivers in a bit.
That's fine. So, Matt, basically the whole meeting was your brainchild. I'm sure you enjoyed yourself. You were looking after the special awards and the entertainers.
Yes, there was, Ed. It was. I will echo what James just said. It was a brilliant day. Good mix of racing and crashing all day long. But yeah, we had obviously 2 entertainer awards, 1 for each class. Plus, we had 6 additional merit awards, which could be for best paint, more entertainer awards, or any other old cars that are there on the day. So I'm just going to read them through to you now. The unlimited entertainer of the day went to 246 Aston Burt, who put in a superb performance all day, including that massive T-bone on 572 Squirt's Amiga limousine. And the unders entertainer of the day went to the squad's member of 400 Chip, Georgie Kelly. It was, I tell you what, they all put on a good show, the squad, but Chip was the standout of all of them. He went crashing all day long for all the races that he was in. The 6 merit awards, the bonus awards. So we've got 6 of those in total. The first one went to 467 Cole Woody Searle, who had a Mark III Granada hearse. He was meant to come last year in a Volvo hearse, got let down on transport at the last minute. He said he'd come back this year, and he did. He kept his promise, and he had a bad day and he did about a lap or 2, but he's more than happy, and he wants to come back next year as well. 910 Casey Church made her national banger debut in a smart Mercedes, so she got a merit award for that. We also did an extra 2 merit entertainer awards for 122 Wayne Boland of Team TLC and 535 Tommy Cox, who was so close to getting that entertainer award from Chip, because they all put in superb performances on the day. And we had 162 Bradders of Brad Stutter of the squad, who also got an entertainer award. And finally, we gave a joint award to Team Black, who put on a great performance all day, especially in that unlimited final and the unlimited Struction Derby. I have got roughly the unofficial car count for the day, which was probably 39 limiteds and about 50 unders. So we lost about 6 or 7 no-shows on the day, but we're happy with the 89 or 90 cars we did have this year. Overall, what we hope for next year is what this year should have been. But obviously, given the circumstances, we're very happy with how this year's meeting went. We want to thank everybody, spectators, drivers alike, for coming. For those in Tier 3, it was absolutely devastating to lose you guys, but we hope to see you back next year, where we will hopefully get that 150 national banger turnout. But yeah, I don't know if you guys want to make any more comments, but Jordan, and obviously you loved the day, didn't you? Taking some photos on the infield with me. So how did you find it?
Yeah, no, it made a change. It's always a pleasure to stand on the infield, and when you've got 760 Joey Reynolds and 617 Jack Avery there and the Unlimiteds, it was just a pleasure to watch them 2 guys in particular. But I thought that meeting was absolutely superb. I mean, Matt, I know how nervous you were on Saturday night and in particular Sunday morning. So, well done to you, because the meeting went brilliantly well. Even considering up until about 2 weeks before, we still didn't even know if the meeting was going to go ahead or not. So, yeah, I think to get the 90 national bangers across the 2 classes was a fantastic effort. As you said, it was a great mix of racing and crashing all day long. Probably the Unlimited's final being the highlight of the day for me, even though I was on the wrong bend for most of the action. I was actually facing towards that bender once I realised what was going on, and there were some absolutely cracking hits going in. It must be said, 67 Ricky Beasley was another one that was on it all day, hitting everything and anything in sight. And the Team Black boys had a really good battle with 360 Jackstar, who, it must be said, absolutely loved the day. He said it was all good fun, and he said the only reason he climbed out of his car in the DD was because it started to smell like petrol. Otherwise, he'd have tried to carry on. But yeah, no, absolutely awesome day. As Matt said, massive, massive thank you to everyone that turned up. And yeah, hopefully next year we'll be back to normal and it'll be an even better day.
Yeah, that's the plan. I just want to thank the drivers as well for their patience with me and Matt Hook, because before the meeting, obviously I ran the driver intention list months ago, and it was a bit confusing in the end, but we had to go through Matt Hook in the end with the final bookings because he had to get all the drivers' addresses because of Tier 3 restrictions and so on. So, thankfully, a lot of drivers did respond. And, obviously, we lost a few Tier 3 drivers. But like I said, we hope to see them all back next year. And we hope to make it a real good party, try and make it the biggest National Banger meeting of the year. That's the real aim. Anyway, so I'll make a few other comments about the meeting. We've got Peter Jones Jr., who's messaged us on the feed. He says that he made his debut in the 800 class this year, and he said he'll definitely be back for next year. Really enjoyed his day, and we're glad that he did. And also another random fact of the day, Josh Lee's old Humber Super Snipe, which I believe it was meant for last year's meeting, actually, but he had trouble with it, so he saved it for a whole 12 months. So fair play to him. He kept it in his yard for a whole year to finally bring it out, despite obviously waiting until the final to do it. But yeah, I'm guessing, Ed, we're going to pass over to Bryson now because he was the man representing us in the banger class on the day.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of drivers, Bryson, you were one of them. How was it?
Yeah, it was just great to be on that side of the fence for a change. It's been 15 months, I think, for myself before our last race, and obviously given the year that we've all had, it was nice to let off some steam and blow the cobwebs off at the same time. And it's true what they say about Standlake. It's one of them tracks you can't compare it to anywhere else. I mean, I've raced up and down the country, countless tracks and whatnot through obviously mini stocks and then through the bangers and that. And the track itself is, there's nothing like it. But straight away, I took to it quite well. Luckily, obviously, thank you to Stewie Davies for the setup on the car. Obviously, I rented on the day, and the car, I had a Focus Estate, and obviously that was set up really well, handled a dream, come through from the back. The first one obviously got up the order. Again, was quick. And then from the sort of final onwards, decided to have a little play. But from even being trackside point of view, it was carnage all the way through. I've never had to be so alert and aware of where everything is on the track before. With Standlake, obviously, it's not the easiest of tracks to negotiate anyway, but with all the carnage that was going on, you had to sort of pick and choose your way through the pack and make sure obviously the hits that you were doing were worth doing, so you weren't set up. But to get 4 races out of it, DD as well, obviously came unlucky in the DD, obviously with a second, but obviously credits to Tommy Cox, as we already established. He'd been on form all afternoon, and obviously DD went to add to his merits. Obviously, unfortunately, we later learned obviously that he had an incident in the pits after the meeting, and we wish him a sort of speedy recovery with that. But yeah, no, I think obviously going head to head with one of them Honda Accords, they are hard cars, so I did expect not to come off better. But no, I couldn't have asked for a better day, really. Obviously, a few positions and got a few races out of the car, and then crashing. And again, obviously, had a little to do with Chip in the dash, and he was all smiles, and it just echoed the day. And from managed to watch the Unlimiteds, and yeah, that final was mega. And it's just great to see a mix of drivers all being competitive. I think that's the thing about Standlake, is that with the regulars that race there, although they may not have the setups and whatnot, and the same as the other top boys who are there, because they are racing there on a regular basis, they know the track in and out. And
yeah, they do say with Standlake, don't they? It's one of those where it either has to be bone dry or pour down with rain to clean it, because as soon as that track gets slippery, obviously bits of mud and stuff will be brought up from the pits, and then it really is a test of whose right foot has that control to be able to keep, especially in the to be able to actually keep it pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, no, there was a couple of times where it caught me out by surprise. Obviously, I sort of watched a few videos in advance and sort of tried doing it, and you do have to feather the throttle, really have to concentrate with it and manage your line going in. And there was a couple of times where it caught me a cropper, and obviously the best of drivers as well was sort of coming a cropper and that. So yeah, it's definitely one of them tracks, as they say, if you can race around there, you can race around anywhere. And once you do set foot on that track, you do appreciate it. But I mean, the format all the way through was smooth. Obviously, I think they got it right by adding the drift rods as well. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, so that we had the repair time and that side of things. So from a racing point of view, I couldn't have really asked for a better day, to be honest. But also managed to get to see the racing as well, and it looked as good as obviously we've already described it to be, and obviously hopefully expand for next year. I would like to obviously be out on track again next year, but we'll see how things go. But it's just one of them, yeah.
Well,
it was a good day start to finish.
Well, speaking from the other side of the fence, obviously he was out there in a car with Mr. Cage on the front bumper, which apparently was must have been like a beauty pageant that only you entered from the Cage team, but well done on winning that.
I mean, it was all a surprise. Stewie himself decided to throw a bit of paintwork on the car when he had a little bit of extra time on the Saturday, so it wasn't anything I asked for. I think it was all just Stewie's brainwave. So yeah, double F signs. Pick him up.
I can definitely say from the other side of the fence that we were all very proud of you as you was going around there, because even Stewie himself said, "Look, like, you've been racing here for years," because like the control you had. I mean, you had a couple of hairy moments with the spin. There was one moment you were stuck in the barrier and you just got away just before Chip came in steaming behind you. Looked like he had you lined up for a caging, but you got away just in time, which is good as well. And sorry, go on, Matt. You go.
I was just wanting to quickly mention before we skip ahead too much, the Teen Streets. We've not mentioned them yet. They sort of raced for their sort of first caged open outing. So it was great to see them there. We had 13 of those out on the day, including Rhys Davis, the son of Stewie, had a Rover Metro, so he won the oldest, rarest Teen Street of the Day award, which I've got, he's being posted in very soon.
I might be wrong, but wasn't he struggling for an engine for that up until a couple of weeks ago?
Yes, he was. Eventually, he got some help. They sorted out an engine for him, and he managed to. He didn't have the greatest of days, but you know he had fun. So we had him in the Rover Metro, Lucas Oxlade in a Ford KA, and he was he was having fun, getting in people's ways and that. And well done to 585 Luke Holsworth, who took the first ever Teen Streets Caged Open. But it's great to see them, and we hope to see him. Obviously, they will be back next year. Hopefully, we'll be in all banger meeting.
That's good. That's what we want. Obviously, we have a full report from the meeting going up soon on the Cage website, so you can get all the ins and outs through that. We did find time to speak to quite a few drivers during the day. I know we had a lot of the big stars of Banger Racing. The ground truths we call them, people just race for the enjoyment of it. But everyone seems to be happy. There's any quotes that stuck out. Now, we're not going to give all the quotes away because you'll be able to read them on our website. But any particular quotes that jumped out? Was it Bryson that was talking to people, or was it?
No, it's
Matt?
me.
Sorry.
It was me actually, Ed.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
But yeah, so we got quite a few quotes for a round. So I was going to give you the flavour of them. Just read them in full on the report that'll be on the Cage website shortly. Firstly, from newly crowned under 1800cc champion Liam Bricknell, said it was very slippery, but it was well run throughout the day, and he really enjoyed it. He said thank you very much. His car felt really good, and he's very happy with how it went. Jack Reynolds, obviously you've already heard what he said to Jordan about why he got in the DD, but he said it was great to see so many champions out, and I think we've touched on this before in terms of we had two National Banger World Champions out there, World of Shale Champion and the Speedworth 1600cc World Champion out there. Joey Reynolds, obviously the man who took the Unlimited Cage Open, said it's a good day all round, smells around, absolutely loved it. He's glad to win it on home turf. He says he loves it because it's a proper track, shows he's got a good right foot to control it. Keith Reynolds said he was glad to be back on track, he had a great day, and in case anyone was wondering, it was an automatic Volvo 240 engine in his BMW. Matt Hook, obviously one of the guys who runs Standlake, he said he wants to pass on all his thanks to all who attended Sunday and made sure that a difficult 2020 season ended it the right way. It's a great turnout of drivers given the circumstances, and all played their part, and fingers crossed to another good year next year. But it was definitely a good case of quality over quantity this year, and it was even though it was still a great turnout. 243 Bodger Osborne said Standlake is a good experience for his first time to be back out there, and it's good to be back out in a Bangor where his heart lies after some time away doing the stock cars and obviously starting his new business as well. Everyone told him that Standlake was slippery and it took some getting used to it in the end. He'll definitely be back. when he said, "Oh, where is his best presented car trophy?" And I think we should say his paintwork, his paintwork looked absolutely fantastic. But he went to Amy Church because it was her first time in Unlimited. So I think they were probably
Casey.
Casey.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Casey
Casey Church. It was her first time in the Unlimited, so it's probably their paint was probably equally as good. From our entertainer of the day, Aston Burt in the Unlimited, he said he glad the rain held up, as is always a slippery track. Like I said before, I think a rain might have helped. Been a while since he had raced, so he just wanted to go out and get involved in the action. He'll be back next year. Jack Deacon said he's grateful for the award that we gave to Team Black, and because the £20 prize money went towards the McDonald's, but the McDonald's came to £20 and 30 pence, so he wasn't happy. But he said,
cheap McDonald's.
But he said, in all seriousness, it was a really good day out, and he wanted to come back. And the final quote from Jack Overy, a man that quite rightly a lot of people will say is probably one of the best drivers we've ever had in the sport. He said that it was a proper old school banger meeting, and it was a really good day out. The full quotes will be on the report shortly, but thanks to all the drivers who spoke to me, and thanks to all the drivers that came and turned out. Again, it made me very proud to be a member of the Cage team, and I think it's always nice as well, because it's sort of like one of the days where quite a lot of us can be in the same place at the same time. And I was absolutely so excited going into Sunday, even happier on the way back with the way it went. So
and also a thank you to Lee Smithy Smith for the great bonnet he done of me as well. That was really great.
Yeah, it must be said, Matt, you do look like a very good Peter Griffin.
Yeah, I know. Apparently, I do. I don't believe that, but yeah, I'll let everyone think what they want to believe.
Have we got a Peter Griffin impression from you? Yeah, there we go. Go on, see if you can do that, Matt.
Has everybody heard about the bird? I don't know. I can't even get it.
To be fair, that was pretty decent. I'll let you off.
That was me, actually. Oh, happy birthday, by the way, Jordan.
Happy birthday, Jordan.
Let's see what else we have. But we've a special request to read out tonight. It says, "Happy birthday, Gemma Louise died. Lots of love, Matthew Richard Josey." Isn't that lovely?
Oh God. Thank you, Ed.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Well, we've got other things to discuss tonight, like the upcoming World Finals and that.
Matt, you really could have just claimed that you did actually ask Ed to read that out, rather than go, "Oh God, thank you, Ed," and then you put a massive boyfriend voice. But there you go.
That's it now, Matt.
Yeah.
Now, we won't discuss relationships on here. We've a bad enough relationship with each other as it is. So we don't need to really dig into the ins and outs of our own. But we'll just wrap up on this one. Any final thoughts, guys? We'll go to you first, Bryson, given that you're in the saddle and you probably appreciate it the most because you're out there. Reckon you come back next year?
Well, I mean, I'd love to, obviously, if money's right and sort of works well with sort of plans going on with other aspects of life and that side of things. Naturally, I'd like to be back on track next year, but who knows? We'll see. I'll be there regardless, but whether it's on track or not, we'll soon see. But no, definitely, it's obviously let's hope to build. Let's get all this nonsense out of the way first. Let's get racing back to normal, and hopefully next year's meeting obviously will be the best one yet.
That's good enough. So, Matt, you were obviously being the promoter, and the amount of giving out and moaning and whinging that you gave during the week. And I said, well, Matt, this is what you get into promoting for. But what were your thoughts?
Overall, I'd say action-wise, it was most consistent and best yet. But obviously, we're going to build that even more next year. Hopefully, we're going to pack the pits, providing this vaccine. Everyone gets vaccinated. Well, most of the people get vaccinated, and we can get back to some sort of normality. Hopefully, we'll make it one of the biggest national banger meetings ever there. That's the plan. We want to make it the biggest meeting it can possibly be. So, yeah, watch your space.
Well, that's good. I mean, you could obviously replace any promoter there with that amount of enthusiasm. It'll be well worn out of you eventually. Don't worry about that. Jordan, you managed to make a fairly good trip for the day. Was it worth it, and you do it again?
Yeah, definitely. I think that was our third annual Caged Open at Standlake, and the third one that I've been to as well. And every year, I think it's just got bigger and better. And I think this year was probably the most consistent action-wise. Just loads of great hits throughout the day, and all the drivers really enjoyed it as well. So it all bodes well for 2021.
That's good. Then finally, then James, you weren't working in your official capacity at meetings, so was it just nice to be running around for the day rather than waving flags and occasionally waving a fire extinguisher?
Well, I said it's the first meeting I've actually been watching since Civil War, so it started and end 2020. It's nice to be watching, especially when you've got one of your own team out there racing and being able to cheer them on. No, I absolutely loved it. It was absolutely fantastic all day.
Well, that's good. Well, more of the same next year, chaps, hopefully. And hopefully I get to be there, but it's quite apt now. It's 9 o'clock. It's time for the news. Let's see. We have a few news items to discuss tonight. The first one mainly is Odsal Stadium.
Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday indeed, Jordan. That's the headline. How could I forget the headlines? And happy birthday, Gemma, too. Love Matt. XX. Oh, XOX. Hun. Anyway, the main news we're looking at this evening, we'll have the World Final preview after all this. Odsal Stadium in Bradford is looking at reopening again under the Star Trek banner. Now, they've been working very quietly on this one in the background. They're updating this every so often. It's been a fantastic track. I've seen a few videos from back in the day at it. It's just one of them. It's kind of like a banked shell over, it's a little bit like Sheffield. But do we feel that, obviously given what's happened this year, we've no chance of it opening? What's the odds of it opening in 2021?
Well, I think given the news we've got so far, it looks good. Obviously, Mr. Rees has had to be going through quite a lot of work to get this going, especially with the Rugby Football League and everything to get this sorted. Obviously, for it to be commercially viable, it needs to be a multi-sport venue. But at the moment, it is looking like there will be a tarmac track around the outside that potentially will have meetings in 2021. Obviously, the first thought, given it's Star Trek's territory, will be that Brisker F1s and National Saloons will probably be some of the first to return there. But of course, it's really good. It's really good that we're probably going to see bangers around Bradford before too long. Odsal itself is a stadium that has held Challenge Cup finals. It used to be one of the premier, especially in the 80s, one of the premier sports venues in the country, and it looks like it's going to again become a really good venue, really high capacity. There are some question marks about where the pits are going to be and everything else around the gate. There's a new housing development as well, and how they're going to respond to there being a racing track that they weren't expecting. But at the moment, everything looks positive. And when how many times have we sat on this podcast and spoke about the latest track that might be about to close? Unfortunately, again, another part of the news is going to be about that, which we'll come on to shortly, about Bellevue. But at the same time, it's good news. It's something to be thankful for.
Yeah, that's good. Any other feelings? Oh, by the way, guys, on our Facebook page, our very own Rob Woolhouse is campaigning to be the one who cuts the ribbon wearing his famous jacket. His good lady Natasha has started that poll, so get your signature in there. Hopefully, we can get our Rob to open the track if it does open. Any other feelings on that, guys, or shall we move on?
Oh, yes. Regarding Odsal, there is the possibility of the Stanwoods meeting returning there, albeit with just the unders class due to limited pit space. So it'd be great to see that return, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think also one of the key points that I think we've missed so far is I'm pretty sure, despite what James said, that it is going to be shale. I think Star Treks have pretty much confirmed that themselves. And I think there is also a possibility of Speedway returning as well.
Exciting. No, I missed that. I missed that bit of news. I sort of assumed based on the track and the way it is, but obviously shale is obviously the Star Trek specialty. So, and if it can be another multi-sport venue with Speedway, it's only better for the venue.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that the rugby team also keen on both Speedway and stock cars to return to the venue as well to help with costs. So it sounds like a really good situation. I think there's going to be a 3-hour curfew on meetings, although I'm sure Steve Rees will confirm that in due course over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I don't know if any of you guys have seen or read that.
I haven't, but it's interesting because the average meeting can get done in about 4 hours. Obviously, sometimes some tracks go on for longer, 5-6 hours. But so 3 hours is quite a quick turnaround. But wait on an announcement for that, I suppose.
There obviously was also recently a radio podcasty type show with Steve Rees and Ian Higgins, a man at the moment more known for his exploits with stocks karts, but obviously formerly Briscoe F1 driver. And I think, again, it sounds like a lot's all up in the air at the moment, but it sounds like they've got big plans, and I think we can just wish them all the best.
Yeah, definitely. If it obviously all comes off and pays due, obviously it's positive vibes that tracks are reopening or at least nigh on there, and especially in the north as well. Obviously, there's not many tracks in the north of the country left standing now. So the fact that also obviously with its history, obviously you had the mega sort of Euro Blitz meetings, and obviously it was renowned for being a sort of savage track. Obviously, sort of mid-90s, latter part of the 90s. Obviously, if that can return and get some crowds in naturally, obviously as well.
Especially with what Star Tracks have had to deal with in the last few years. Obviously, losing Stoke, losing Coventry, potentially losing Bellevue, which is down to its last chance saloon for that. And obviously, Sheffield can only run very, very limited amounts of meetings. So it's good for Star Tracks as well.
Well, this is it. I mean, any track reopening is good. Any new track coming into the fold is good. I mean, there were a lot of tracks once upon a time. There aren't now, so you need to appreciate every track, even though, the circumstances mightn't dictate you get it exactly the way you want it, but it's racing at the end of the day, one way or the other, so we need to support it. But yeah, we just brushed upon that. Bellevue Stadium in Manchester. James, you seem to have a good bit of information about this one.
Well, it's just basically what's been posted from the Save Bellevue Action Group. It seems that it is sort of in the last chance saloon in terms of where the money can be raised. There's been various figures bandied about. I think the one that I've seen most often is 3.7 million, which is a lot, especially if you're going to take it on stock car racing, which is a sport that you wouldn't really go into it to make money from, so it'd have to be a labour of love. It is the last chance saloon, but the chance is still there. I don't know. Everyone loves an underdog. Perhaps we'll get good news out of this.
This is it. The track's been for sale for the last 18 months, but we're trying to buy it. Obviously, it's expensive. Unfortunately, we have another track that's basically having the axe waved at it. It is United Downs Raceway down in Cornwall, the famous kind of D-shaped track. It basically it's one of the few ovals left with three corners, so it's more or less a tri-oval. It looks like people want to close it. They want to put in some kind of. It says here. I was looking at the official petition page, not to close the track down. It's going to be replaced by a rum cask maturation biomass geothermal energy centre, visitor centre, including ancillary shop, cafe, and a bar. Isn't that brilliant? And you'd rather be down there watching 2 litre saloons or unlimiteds, because it's just one of them tracks. It's just mental. I haven't been there myself, but any of the videos.
I went to the first 4 blockbusters when it moved. Well, it didn't move from Westborough, did it really? Because the first time they had both running on the same day. But they were brutal. That wall there, it's easy to roll over on it when you get followed in. So it's a brutal track. But yeah, it'd be a shame to see Cornwall, St Diego, really would.
And it's the last track in Cornwall as well. I know that there's Southwest Bangers also run down there, but other than Taunton, you don't really have many other tracks down Southwest. So, I think for the drivers that are still based down in Cornwall and North Devon, it is vital for them as well to keep the United Downs Raceway open. And it is a fantastic little track. It never needs massive numbers to have a good day. As Ed said, the 2 litre stock cars level are always great. You're so close to the action. It's just a really good facility to go and watch stock car racing at. So hopefully it can be saved.
Yeah, definitely. It's a mega track as well. I've been down there a few times. I raced in my junior, like in many sort of days down there, and it's I said it was Standlake, but it's another one of them tracks that's very difficult to compare to, obviously, with its unique shape and size. But you've got a mega driver base down there, and they've obviously with all the difficulties of what's been going on this year, they've still had a very good season down there. So it would seem a shame, obviously, to see it go. Obviously, as we mentioned, obviously they've got Taunton still, and you've got Mullicott on the rise down there. But again, it's another part of the country where banger racing is dying out, and if you do lose another track, again, we want to keep sort of all the tracks going, and it's just good to see them thriving. So obviously, everyone get on the petition. Obviously, we'll post a link, I'd imagine,
We have. It's done.
Yeah,
literally done right now. So.
Yeah, so exactly. Everyone just get on board and get it signed, and let's give these tracks the sort of glimmer of hope that we can.
This is it. Well, in more positive news, James Keane will be delighted with this because it is his favourite track and his local track, judging by that lovely accent he has. We're coming back to Birmingham Wheels Raceway.
What do you mean, Ed? I thought I lost my Brummie accent since I moved down to
You never think I should be
Birmingham Wheels is, of course, the track that is a mile away from where I grew up. It was where I fell in love watching the sport in the 90s, and I was as sad as anyone when it originally looked like it was going to close, and as delighted as anyone when it was reopening with Pete Gould and Race Quip. And it looks like for a while it's been running a lot of the I Factor almost club formulas, but it looks like Bangers are due to return to Birmingham. The poster has gone out. There's no date announced yet, but Bangers are going to be returning. Looks like a range of Bangers will be racing there on its return, and that can only be good news because Birmingham is one of those tracks that I've seen so many good banger meetings over the years. Obviously, in more recent history, in-car race domestic bangers numbers did start to dwindle, but there was always some fantastic meetings at Birmingham, including obviously the 2 litre World Final that had been there. I watched one of those with Jordan. It was a great meeting, one of the last 2 litre finals there, and obviously Champion of Champions, where I had the pleasure of marshalling turn 1 and 2 when Jamie Pole put the winner in with one of the most savage follow-ins to a frog I have ever seen. But Birmingham is one of those tracks under the lights, under the lights, and in the summer. Birmingham's a fantastic track, really wide corners and short straights, which are fantastic for things like national saloons as well. But it's good just to see that Birmingham is starting to get traction again, and maybe we'll see it get back to where it was in the 90s.
Boston, mate. Sorry.
Sorry.
Ed, what have we told you about the accents? Your own accent is hard enough for our listeners to understand, let alone when you try to talk Brummie.
One does not appreciate what you are saying, dear boy.
I'd love him to do the Queen's accent. That's what I want to hear.
Excuse me, in my country we do speak the Queen's English. Anyway, we're talking about schedule changes. We've another one, and it's not really unexpected, but it's a very welcome one. We've the BWS going to January, replacing the Civil War at Hensford. Now, the Civil War probably will happen a little bit later in 2021, but it's been knocked off its traditional January perch by basically unlimited BWS around Hensford. Now, it might be a bit cold, but it'll definitely be a good meeting if it does happen. Any quick thoughts on that one, guys, or we'll just carry on to all the other schedule changes that are creeping in?
Yeah, I think that's
definitely. Unlimited at Hensford, you can't go wrong. It's the quickest track in the country with the sort of quickest banger class on there. But obviously, with the bends being how they are, obviously Civil Wars was in a savage. So if they can get the backing of a sort of strong booking list, it's got all the makings to sort of kick off the 21 season and the BWS for next year with a bang, really. So. Yeah, I see it as a positive change, and I think it's only right with obviously the restrictions that are in place at the moment and looking at being in place for a little while, that Civil War is pushed back a little bit so that it can be as good as it is. And definitely, I think it's the right move to make and a good call overall by sort of Speedworth and in-car race.
I mean, I do feel a bit of a traitor with Civil Wars because obviously I grew up in Birmingham, which is in terms of the Civil War split is north, and I always used to be a North fan growing up, and then now obviously living in the south and working for Speedworth South, obviously now would support the south team, but I think it would be a bit unfair to the north team given the current tier restrictions that we might see in January to run a Civil War when you'd probably, God knows how many you'd actually be able to get racing.
Well, it'd be better than all the virtual Civil Wars that have happened lately anyway.
Just echo what Brick said. I think it's a really good move by Speedworth and in-car racing. As James said, I think that's a very good point about the tier restrictions either, because that is something that I hadn't thought about. I was just purely thinking about the crowd that would have wanted to go to Civil War and how hard it would have been to get tickets, because obviously they'd have been on a reduced capacity as well. So, I think in this way, everyone can still go if they want to. All the drivers can race if they want to, and obviously it's the road to gold. It starts early again, and we know how good the Aldershot rounds have been that have kicked off with BWSs. So hopefully the one at Hednesford can do the same.
This is it, and any good in this could become the new kind of kickstart the season again, meeting after the Heavy Metal Classic. But a few other dates being announced. My own local, if you want to call it, that track 90 miles away, Tullaroan Oval on Boxing Day, or St. Stephen's Day, was Irish. Return the big van bangers, so hopefully, family permitting, I can make it up there to report back for you. But I think, James, you threw in the last second there, is Arlington B2B bangers. Have they announced the date for that?
So many vans.
It's only vans. Okay, Matt, you're the van man. Take it away.
I love vans. Yeah, it's great to see the B2B vans both back on at Yarmouth and Arlington over the Christmas period. I can't remember the exact dates. I'm sorry. I'll pass you back to James now because he's got the official dates in front of him, probably.
Matt just wanted to say how much he loved back to basic vans, basically.
Yeah, definitely. That was me all over. I mentioned it all the time. Yeah.
Happy birthday, Jordan.
Sorry.
The joke that never gets old. But okay, I think we've wrapped everything up in the news. So let's move on. Now, this was a meeting that's usually the highlight of the year, except we're in December now. It was meant to be in October. Of course, we're talking about the Ipswich World Final, the unlimited Ipswich World Final. Now, it was deferred a few times. If all had gone to plan, it would have happened actually last month. But changes have come in again, mainly influenced by the local councillor on this, which you've been responsible for a few little changes here and there. A lot of people seem to be unhappy about. But we're only here really to talk about the racing. So, the big meeting itself, Ipswich, this Saturday, 12th of December. The unlimited world champion will be crowned that evening. It was Mick Maskell Jr. last year. He'll be going in with the gold top, contrary to what some other people thought on the night. But this should be a good meeting. Now, we're not really going to discuss the newly introduced rules too much. It relates to food and drink rather than racing. But just very quickly, I think, Jordan, you're going to be the only person who's there. Do you reckon they're going to affect the meeting too much, or will most people be there for the racing rather than eat and drink?
Well, I think there's no doubt that the atmosphere on a world final night is always a bit like a carnival. Everyone's there to have a good time. Whether or not everyone's there for the racing itself, that's another question, and whether or not how many people actually remember the racing when they wake up on Sunday morning. But no, like, again, I think it should be a really good night. It's a meeting we desperately need. I think Speedworth need it as well, obviously, because we can't forget that they are a business at the end of the day, and they haven't had much, if any, income. And they've worked exceptionally hard to get the meeting on. Not only to have it cancelled once, but to have it cancelled twice and to still have 153 drivers entered is absolutely incredible. And it's a testament to the drivers as well, because they've obviously worked very hard all year. You know, they've been working hard throughout lockdown, building cars and making money and, you know, working wherever they can to race. And then obviously they've still got to travel up and down the country 2 rounds. Obviously they've went to Yarmouth, they went to Ipswich twice. So, you know, it'll be a really good night. I don't know if it will be what has become known to be a traditional National Banger World Final, in terms of the atmosphere, in terms of the racing. I don't know if there'll be less cars on track this year, or what the format is going to be. But, you know, you can't begrudge Speedworth. It is what it is. And, you know, just a massive, massive well done to them for all the hard work behind the scenes and getting the meeting on.
Well, that's it. I mean, you know, there's a lot of effort's gone into this, and of course a lot of people are giving out about it, but, you know, giving out about everything, whether it be the ticket prices, whether it be, I don't know, the food prices, the admission prices. But if the price is right, you want to go racing, go. I mean, as long as you're in the right tier, you can go. Now, I'll freely admit, I'm not fully up on the whole tiered system in Britain at the moment, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but most people can attend who want to go. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, Bryson, you've been to a few of them before. Do you reckon the buzz is going to be there again, or is it going to be a little bit muffled?
I think obviously there's always going to be the buzz from a driver's point of view. It's the World Final, it's the biggest race of the year. So naturally they're still going to want to win it. Obviously whether the car choices and the paint is going to be as stunning as it normally is, I probably wouldn't have thought so, because naturally obviously the pre-meeting hype and all the fans around the cars, obviously there's a limited amount of number of spectators, and they, by the looks of things, are being allowed in the pits. But it's not going to have the same feel from the pre-meeting build-up. But I think from a race point of view, obviously it's still the one they want to win. They've still worked hard, obviously with lockdown aside. They've qualified. Obviously it's a bit guttering with people like Dennis, and obviously you had the Hoosiers who had to book out, and a lot of obviously other tier 3 drivers who can no longer do it. But I think this year, obviously I don't know the exact numbers, but I know that there's a lot of drivers making their debuts in the World Final. Obviously you've got the likes of sort of Jack Hodges, who we've interviewed on the website. Obviously you've got Big Al, you've got the likes of Viking, and so on and so forth. Obviously Jimmy Matthews, who's had a sort of good year as well. It gives drivers the opportunity who have had a good year and a standout year to have their chance to shine. And we all know with the World Final, obviously controversy aside with results in previous years, that it's anyone's race really. So
yeah,
definitely.
I think we mentioned Viking. I think that's as well. Like it meant so much to him to qualify for the World Finals. The fact he can go ahead at all is obviously people have been saying whether or not this will be the same because of the lockdown, not being able to have drivers coming from abroad. But then if you look at a driver like Viking, who's put so much, Brent has put so much into this year, being an entertainer, even once racing restarted, doing everything he could to make sure he was on that grid. It going ahead at all is just shows what it means to drivers like him, and I'm sure the differences won't matter to him when he takes that rolling lap.
As long as he can fit his helmet over his afro, really, that's the main thing, isn't it?
But will he once again be bringing out a Herschel limo though, Frog Eye? That's always had at BWS rounds this year, isn't it?
He has. He's got a 100% record with hearses and limos, and not always the hearses have gone home how he would have liked in Splinters, but yeah, he certainly put the miles and the entertainment value into the BWS this year, has Brent, and he'll be one to watch on Saturday.
Yeah, it's all the way from. We're just on a very quick look here at the list of runners and riders very happily given to us, stolen off Northern Wires. Thanks to Dippy for doing that. But it's a very varied field this year. Let's look through it very quickly. There's only 3 previous winners on the grid, 3 previous gold tops. A would be our defending champion Mick Maskell, Jack Overy, let's see, Karl Kozowski, and that's it really. There's plenty of second places, third places, podium finishers. But like I said, there's an awful lot of newcomers to the meeting as well. There's plenty to list. And the funny thing is, like I say, a good example would be Jack Reynolds last year, Jackstar. He's not only the one, goes for the Entertainers Awards, gets the car pulled off in an absolute state and gets it back going again. But he finished second last year. And I mean, it's not the easiest race to win, given that it actually is a race rather than a wrecking session. Like, you're certainly not going to win the World Final being the last car moving. But the likes of Jackstar, took the wrecking head off, put the racing head on, and put his foot down and done extremely well. So we'll see what happens. I mean, there's a few other proper hardcore wreckers in there as well. Of course, the man himself, 341, Josey. Andrew Jones, he's had 5 before, and his best finish has been NA. So he hasn't actually finished the World Final. He's taken part in quite a few of them, but he hasn't finished any of them. So I reckon it might be the likes of Jonesy's chance to shine, or is it? But I really think, though, it is anyone's race, given that there is a grid draw. Like, obviously, you're seeded into the World Final, but that's it. You're on the grid, and that's it. You obviously, take pull a number out of the hat, whether it's number 1 or number, I think, there's need 30 cars in the final. So is it a case of, I mean, luck will always be on your side in this one. Like Stephen Bolton said that before. Granted, he was on the front, but he says, right, I'm going for this. I'll probably never get the chance again. And he did. And again, it was another disputed victory, because it took a few days for Speedworth to turn around and say, yeah, we got to win. He's the winner. He's not. So let's hope this one, despite anything that's going on, is a clean race. Matt, any feelings on this one? I know you're a bit of a racer.
Before you go to Matt, there's 57 seeded drivers, which suggests there are going to be 3 last chance qualifiers. So it'll be 60 cars take the green flag. So
that's more than half the track could be full of cars, wouldn't it?
So yeah, Ed, he's about to come to me. I've not looked at the list yet. I'm a bit not up to date with the Bangor World Final list. I do apologise. Is Stacey on there? I take it she's qualified.
Yeah, Stacey's
qualified. I'd love to see Stacey win it. Obviously, she got second at the Caged Open. She's won a hell of a lot of races within the last year and a half. It'd be great for her to become the first female world champion. That's my obviously it could be it's anyone's race, isn't it? At the end of the day, but I'd love to see Stacey win it.
That's it. Any predictions at all, Bryson? Or are you see what happens?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of drivers on the list who have had a good season and are capable. Obviously, two drivers I'd like to see win. Obviously, a good friend of mine, Lee Kingsnorth, who we've actually got, if I can get the time to do it over the next couple of days, we've got an interview to post before Saturday with him. It'd be nice to see him take the honours after the year he's had, with obviously getting second in the unlimited points and obviously winning the 1600 ones. Nathan Roberts is a driver who's always been consistently quick. It'd be nice to see him sort of up there. But I mean, there's loads of people out there. There's Warren Factors as well. I think obviously there's going to be plenty of people who tune in to Speedway TV and watch it. So as long as it's a good race and carnage or meeting, as we love to see, I'd be happy with anyone. I mean, I'd prefer sort of someone who does go around on their own and race on their own to win it over sort of the sort of more team ride. But no, I think everyone's earned their place, so it'd be good to see him win it. And as you touch upon with like Jack and Star last year, for instance, it can throw surprises. Obviously, you've got people, as you say, Josey and sort of Viking and Sonic, who have all been sort of chasing the entertainers' points. But end of the day, everyone's getting in the world final to try and take that gold roof. So yeah, it'd be good to see anyone win it, really.
That's it. Understand you have to go now for even Bryson, but thanks so much for the inputs.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
We'll catch up to you again soon. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Okay. James, you're very quiet there. I know you're big in statistics and all that. What do you reckon?
Well, it's one of those, like, trying to pick a winner out of this is almost impossible, because whoever you think is going to win, anything can happen within, like, the first two corners. I mean, like, Ben Nichols is someone who was promoted into the seeded drivers recently, based on points. So after the Hughes dropped out, Ben Nichols was put in. I think he'd be a driver I'd like to see potentially win, because he's obviously since coming into the Nationals, and he's been a mix of entertainer and racer and showed how good he is despite how young he is. I think for me, I just want to see someone win who hasn't won before or wouldn't be considered to win before, because surprises are always great. I mean, just looking down the list now, I think this year actually is probably the most mixed up because of everything that's happened, with quite a lot of drivers there that maybe didn't expect to be on the grid at the start of the year. I mean, how do you pick? I mean, Jamie Pole as well. He's been so good over the last few seasons. He'd be someone that no one could begrudge taking the win. I mean, how do you pick?
This is it. I mean, you might as well, the old joke, pick a dart, throw it at the dartboard, see where it lands. But I mean, there's so many drivers. Obviously, from this side of the water, Leonard Dunn's a guy to watch out for. He's done the last 3 World Finals, and his best finish was 5th. But he's kind of the current superstar of Irish Banger racing, and if he qualifies up the front, he's going to go for it. Like you did say, it is the highlight of his season. I'm sure nearly every driver would say that. Despite all the mockery that it gets in certain places, it still is the highlight of the season.
I mean, as well, you also have such a long list of the last chance qualifiers as well, including our the sponsor of this podcast, 194, Steve Anscombe. He'll be in the last chance. He's I think was it 2 or 3 seasons ago? I think it was 2018. He won the last chance to get through the last World Final. Adam Maxwell got through from the last chances with one of the best drives I've seen in a last chance race. So he'll be going for it. Steve Bolton, obviously former world champion there in the last chance races. So I think the last chances could be a big one to watch as much as anything. Obviously, they've got to start from the back, but since when does that stop someone winning the world final?
That's it. I think, don't quote me, I think Mick Maskell Jr. has the record of the lowest grade to win, but we're open to correction on that one. But let's just hope it's a fair race. It's an even race. Obviously, there's going to be people there wanting to crash, people wanting to wreck. But let's just hope that, the winner is decided on the evening rather than a couple of days later. Like, we did brush on this before. It's not what we're here to talk about. That's not what we want to be talking about either. But but anyone who's going, basically, there are special rules and regulations in place. We advise that you follow them. It's mainly for the future of racing. And don't forget, if all this goes ahead, there will be the 1600cc Barrier World Final a week after, which is on the 19th of December. So that'll be just under a week before Christmas. So hopefully that can go ahead too. When things happen. But yeah, best luck to everyone. Of course, best luck to our main sponsor, Mr. Steve Anscombe, Cecil's Rent a Rookie. Want to go racing? They're the guys to go to. They'll give you everything you need except the Lear OG, as we say in Ireland, the balls. They won't give you balls, give you anything else. But Jordan, any final predictions on the World Final then? Or, is it going to be a nice open race?
No. Well, the World Final is always open. I think Ipswich, you do need a lot of luck because it doesn't take much for you to just get a tap the wrong way and then you've spun out and stuff and in the wall, and then you've got people coming on up against you. So you're going to need someone to go under the radar. I think 717 Jack Tuffin, he's always quick. He always goes well as well. Never seems to have the luck. So too 757 Callum Gill had another very, very good season at Trackstar, Kings Lynn on the Shell. So I think he could be one to watch. Sid Madrick as well. Going to be another one to watch. 181 Grant Doe. He won the Kings Lynn Halloween Havoc as well. PRR World Champion, the 44 Macaulay Mills as well, is booked in and ready to go as well. So, you've just got a load of names on there that could win it. And of course, as well, it must be said, 617 Jack Avery, can he win it 5 years on from his first victory?
Yeah,
the roof came off of Ipswich that night, and I think it would again on Saturday if he were to take the double checkered flag.
Is that one of the most surprising statistics in banger racing, that he's only got one unlimited world championship?
Or that it took 16 attempts to do it, but he did do it.
I think that's a credit to the World Final with itself as well, because it is such a hard race to win and no driver ever dominates the World Final. I think Jack Avery himself in 2015, he only took the lead with 2 or 3 laps to go in what was a crazy end to the race. So yeah, you do need that luck, and you need to have the skill and knowledge to avoid everything as well that goes on.
Talking of Jack Avery to only win one Banger World Final, 348's Sonny Sherwood, he never won a Banger World Final, and he used to always win, a lot of banger races in his time.
Can I say he won? He pretty much won everything else. The other thing to think about as well is looking at Sonny Sherwood, the mush. His first World Final was 1998. Colin Sonic Dickin, his first World Final was 1999. You think about it, Jordan aside, happy birthday. Some of the drivers on the grid on Saturday wouldn't have even been born when that happened. I'm mad.
Yeah. But yeah,
think about it.
But of course, it's just banger racing, isn't it? Anything can happen. Obviously, boxing not taking part this year, it does open up the chance for maybe Stacey will have to take
the last chance qualifiers.
Yeah,
he's in lots of qualifiers, but yeah, Stacey, I think it'd be great for her to win it. Obviously, I mean, there's so many top drivers we'd love to see win it for the first time, isn't there? But I'll be rooting for Stacey Ellsworth all the way Saturday.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's always good to root for somebody, isn't it? So yeah, I think the race also, if you have a Speedworth TV subscription and you buy it before tomorrow, you'll be able to watch is it being shown live, or is it only they shown the highlights?
No, it's live. It's all live.
It's been announced today. Three cameras, full presentation.
Yeah,
you can stay at home, put your feet up, drink a can of Doom Bar, happy days.
It must be said as well that the public grid draw is also on Speedworth TV tomorrow night as well at, I believe, 7 p.m.
6:30, I think it is.
6:30. Sorry, I got that wrong. Well, either way, check it out and make yourself ready, and then we'll find out who's lining up where for the big one.
Yep, and this will be the best way to watch it if you're not there. Never mind people going live on Facebook, because all you're going to see is the backs of people's heads and a very shaky camera angle. It's like a bad porn film, really. But, I mean, it is. I mean, free plug to Speedworth TV, mainly because I want free Speedworth TV. But it's a fantastic resource, and it's pretty much like Netflix for oval racing, really. You don't literally just like bangers, you get all the other formulas as well, if you're inside.
How much have Speedworth TV paid you tonight, Ed? Because I thought it was me that paid.
No, they've doubled my wages that you pay me, Matt. So they've gone from nothing to double nothing.
I think
I was about to say, I don't pay you anything.
I mean, of course, we do have one of the cage team. Dom is a big part of Speedworth TV, and I know that he's excited and be working hard on Saturday. And obviously, we're all very proud of Dom and the presentation stuff he's been doing with Speedworth TV. So, if anything from us, just tune in just to see Dom's excellent commentary and presentation.
Hopefully, we see him in another smart shirt as well, like he had at the Aldershot meeting back in July.
We'll have to see if we can get him onto the next Full Throttle as well to see what it's like from the other side of the camera, never mind the fence. So I think we've done a good preview here of the World Final. We haven't actually said who might win. We said who might entertain, because it's the likes of the Bears thrown in there as well. You've 266 Callum Hall odd job, and you 521 Ace Ash. One will Ace Ash bring a very small car like he did last time. That was the smallest car of a race that he brought last time, wasn't it? Was it a Cadillac Eldorado hearse? Not a very small car, a very large car. But it'd be a case nowadays of, will a Granada ever win again? Because I can't see many drivers bringing a Granada one way or the other. It's nearly all Mercs and Scorpios now. Of course, when I say Granada, I mean Mark 1 or Mark 2. They are the Granadas, unlike any of the more modern stuff.
I think the last person to win the World Final, win a Mark 1 or Mark 2, was actually Boxer in 2012. In that infamous green Mark 1, he led it from pole position.
He was. I've got it in front of me.
Any more interested? So it's been, what was one last year? It was Scorpio State last year. I think the year before that was a Mercedes E-Class. The year before that was another Scorpio, or Bug-Eye, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, the year before that was, it was Steve Bolton and his Scorpio.
Yeah. We call them Scorpios or we call them Ultimates? We get rid of Ford and Iraqi now.
Granada Mark 3, Mark 4. 3 or 4.
I call them Ford Scorpios, or Frog Eyes. If we're going to play this game.
Yeah, but
I call them funny looking cars that the uprights keep popping out on.
To be fair, Jordan, it was launched before you were born, so you can call it by the new name.
Yeah. Right, come on. Any more young jokes?
Oh.
Happy birthday. From all of us.
Let's all put our necks out on the line. Pick one driver, and we'll see when we come back. We'll see who got the highest placed driver when we come back for our review show.
Well, I'm sticking with my guns, Stacey Holdsworth.
Jordan?
717 Jack Tuffen.
James?
I'm going to go Joey Reynolds. I think it looks so quick and done enough rodding recently. This could be his year. Joey Reynolds.
I'm going to be biased and say Leonard Dunn 215. Dark horse.
Ooh, so we're going to come back in a few weeks, and we're going to see who got the highest placed driver of them four.
And lowest placed driver has to take some kind of horrible forfeit.
Yeah, we'll do a forfeit. We'll do a forfeit for the lowest placed driver.
And don't let me down.
You'll have to drink kangaroo juice or something.
No, I think the lowest. No, I think the forfeit would be something like we'll just pretend it's your birthday that day, so we'll just keep saying happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jordan.
Happy birthday, Jordan. That's your new catchphrase there, Jordan. Sorry, you're stuck with it now.
This is what you get for being the baby of the group, Jordan.
Yeah,
he's not the baby, just the least experienced.
I don't know if anyone's seen Jordan face to face recently. I don't know if you've seen that for his 21st birthday he got a beard. Apparently,
he really wants to be a man now for his birthday, doesn't he? You dress up as a man for your birthday party, Jordan.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, rather than going as like a clown or a skeleton or whatever else. Yeah, when as a grown man.
Considering that my final year as a teenager was the year you were born, not been too bad.
To be fair, does that make you feel quite old, Ed?
I'm not old. I just refuse.
Just experience. He's not old. It's just experience.
Yeah, just experience. Yeah.
Yeah. The only is, Jordan, you're not allowed to go down to teenage disco anymore. Sorry.
If it's worth anything, you're only as old as you feel.
Or as the woman you're feeling up. I didn't say that, did I?
Anyway, this is Cage Station.
Yeah.
It is Cage Station. I'm Matt Josey's on Channel 4 now. I'm getting a dirty look off my delightful about a half mile here, so I better stop that. But, we've discussed everything in the World Final. We'll just reiterate again the rules that are there for spectators on the evening. Please follow them. I know a lot of people are saying they're stupid, dealing with this, speed with that. they weren't their decision. It was the local council said, go by these rules, or you might have the Rookie World Final, the 1600cc final the following week. And I'm sure everybody who goes will have a good time, and they'll say it was a great night. And all the naysayers and moaners were all over the various Facebook groups that just seemed to be there half the time to run down banger racing rather than support it. But moving on, that's about the end of the night, really. Any final thoughts on the World Final, guys, or will we leave it there and then discuss it in a few weeks?
We'll leave it there and discuss it in a few weeks, I think.
I think we will.
Is this going to be the last podcast before Christmas?
It probably will be, yeah. Because obviously by the time we get to Christmas, it's difficult to get us together, let alone...
Oh, yeah, 2 weeks' time is Christmas Eve, so that's a bit awkward, isn't it?
Yeah. So, from all of us here at Caged, have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Keep safe.
And if you've got a birthday coming up, happy birthday.
Yeah, if you've got a birthday coming up, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Gemma.
Happy birthday, Gemma from Alvis the Caged. Still we took out to present.
It's a bit awkward now because we do this on a Thursday night. Obviously, 2 weekends time is Christmas Eve. The weekend after that is New Year's Eve. So we're going to have to decide after we come off air what we're going to do with you guys. How we're going to talk about the World Final. We'll have to find maybe another day to do the podcast rather than a Thursday. Who knows?
Matt, you're all doom and gloom at this time of year. What's going on?
I am. But we can sort something out. We can't let this be the last podcast of 2020. We've got to do one more to end this miserable year.
Well, in that case, ignore all my Christmas wishes. You've still got time to do your shopping.
Yep. And we bought Matt his birthday present on behalf of Cage, which is Volume 2 of the Racing Driver's Book of Excuses. So
thank you. I really look forward to reading that.
On the toilet, yeah. Gemma's told us what she got you for Christmas, but she told us not to share. So hopefully it's
so I prefer
a nice and thoughtful gift. But I think we'll end on that for the evening. Thank you very much to our panelists. Thank you very much, Jordan, and that will be the final birthday greeting that we give you today.
Thank you very much, Ed, and thank you everyone for listening. See you at Ipswich Saturday if you're going.
Indeed. Well, thank you to the man who makes it all happen in the background, Mr. Orange Race Media himself. Thank you very much, James Keane.
Thank you very much, Ed. Thanks to everyone listening. It's been a strange year this year, but hopefully you've enjoyed listening to our podcasts as much as we've enjoyed doing them. If we get another one out before the end of 2020, I'll wish you Happy New Year then. But if not, thanks for another fantastic year in the sport and with Caged, and we'll speak to you soon. And finally, the Caged dear leader himself, master of all things Caged. Thank you very much, Matt Josey.
Thank you, Ed. Jordan, I hope you have a fantastic end to your birthday. And also, we've got a quick mention as well. Cecil's Rent a Rookie, thank you for your continued support with us here at Caged. I thought we'd give him a quick plug.
You're trying to steal my thunder again, Josey?
That was slick, wasn't it? It wasn't very slick. Go on, Ed. You can do it. You can do it. Thank you. Thank you, Ed. Good night, everyone. Back to Ed.
As you might be able to tell, as you might be able to tell, we've got a very Christmas party vibe going on here at the moment.
Yeah, Matt's already fallen off the table drunk and all these house to his candies. But yeah, well, that brings an end to this episode of Cage Full Throttle. Thank you very much to all the panelists. Thank you to all our listeners, commenters, supporters during the year. And thanks very much to our main sponsor, Mr. Steve Anscombe, Cecil's Rent a Rookie, who's stood through us for a very difficult year for everyone, really. Hopefully we've brightened up your year one way or the other. Maybe it's the virtual series, which will be coming back in 2021 one way or the other. But if nothing else seems to happen this year, and that includes another Cage Full Throttle broadcast, we'd like to wish you all a very happy Christmas and a prosperous new year. Keep the head up high. I know we said this time last year, if what happened in 2020 was going to happen, that's never going to happen, but it did, unfortunately. We've kept our heads held high through it. That's the main thing, really. But all I need to say then is, I'm Ed Fahey. Thanks for listening to Cage, and we'll catch up with you soon.